because I know if any one of us is going through challenges in general, we do want some sort of help and guidance and support to not make those mistakes again.
Purple rain, purple rain.
We made love.
Who you made love with?
Diddy, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes.
You just told me you see Busta in the airport too. And I guess that's why people coming out on Busta Rhymes saying he's zesty now, because he made comments like that.
Busta Rhymes is clearly feeling the pressure right now, and things are starting to look pretty chaotic. The internet is buzzing after one of Diddy's alleged escorts stepped forward, and it's not just Diddy who's being mentioned. Busta's name has come up too, and not in a flattering context. If you've been paying attention, none of this should come as a major surprise. Busta has always carried a certain aura that's made people raise their eyebrows. For instance, why does he consistently bring young male fans into his VIP area like it's some kind of private audition? This has led to ongoing speculation that he might have a particular interest in them. And honestly, the whispers just keep gaining traction. Let's also not forget when Orlando Brown unexpectedly appeared and claimed he had slept with Busta. Now, while Orlando is known for being unpredictable, he rarely throws names out there without some purpose. Then there's the incident involving Coi Leray. Rumors suggest Busta allegedly tried to set her up with Diddy, and she declined, questioning his intentions altogether. And the way Busta conducts himself around women raises even more concerns. Several sources have alleged he has a history of violence against women and possibly harbors a deep-seated resentment toward them. On top of that, he's been seen wearing clothing that many considered unusually feminine, which led to more speculation. Of course, clothing doesn't define someone, but when combined with everything else, the narrative starts to shift. Now with this alleged Diddy escort stepping forward and reportedly ready to expose what they witnessed behind the scenes, it seems Busta is bracing for a storm. This development is significant. Let's get into it. Daniel Phillip, one of Diddy's supposed escorts, recently testified in the ongoing Diddy case. He claimed he was paid $6,000 for so-called freakoffs, if you're unfamiliar with the term. These are allegedly secret parties where extremely explicit activities take place far beyond what would be acceptable on even premium cable networks. Think less music, more disturbing private performances, but Daniel isn't the only one speaking out. Another figure has been named, someone called the Punisher, and no, this isn't the comic book character. The nickname alone implies a very specific role. Reports suggest that the Punisher was involved in coordinating events, cleaning up situations, and allegedly enforcing discipline in disturbing ways, especially behind closed doors. Allegedly, Busta was among those who faced this punishment. Rumors suggest that behind the scenes, he wasn't just spitting lyrics, he was involved in much more compromising scenarios. With this information now surfacing, it's clear he's trying hard to control the damage. Looking back, it becomes easier to understand why Busta was so quick to defend Diddy when the allegations first began. He wasn't just being sympathetic to the victims. He also expressed concern for Diddy, attempting to downplay the backlash as though he were trying to contain the fallout. That behavior struck many as questionable. It almost came off like he was protecting not just Diddy, but himself. One commenter summed it up well. Translation: I know exactly what's going on, but you won't hear it from me. I'm in those tapes too.
It's extremely sensitive, and I think that people don't keep in mind the effect of what their opinion can have. And I think it's really, really important that we reserve our opinions until we understand what the undisputed truth is.
And since then, not a single word from Busta. No public appearances, no statements, no Instagram live, nothing. Completely silent. Given how quickly this Diddy case is escalating, it's possible Busta's worried he might be next. I mean, Kid Cudi has already testified. So who's to say Busta won't be called to testify too? Let's not forget, Busta and Diddy go way back. Their careers have overlapped since the 90s at parties, events, and across the music industry. They've always been closely connected. So if things are heating up for Diddy, chances are Busta's feeling the pressure as well. Fans have started putting the puzzle together. One user even commented, Busta Rhymes looks like Gangstalicious from the Boondocks. He's got that same gangstalicious look, and to be fair, Busta's fashion choices have raised eyebrows for years. Mesh shirts, tight tanks, that leather harness situation. It's giving off certain signals, allegedly. But back then, nobody was really asking questions. And then another user brought up an interesting point. I knew DMX was speaking facts about the industry back in the day. And honestly, that checks out. Before Cat Williams started talking about shady industry practices, DMX was already calling it out. He warned that the industry was toxic, manipulative, and filled with disturbing games. And what happened next? He was blacklisted, silenced, and according to long-standing rumors, it didn't stop there. Some believe he was allegedly eliminated for speaking too much.
Didn't like it, but I had to respect it.
He f***ed up. Let's make some noise from Puff f***ing up. Let's make some noise.
So let's move to Orlando Brown. Now, sure, he said some off-the-wall things over the years. A lot of it made people say, maybe it's time to log off. But do y'all remember when he claimed he had a sexual encounter with Busta Rhymes?
We made love.
Who you made love with?
Diddy, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes.
You just told me you see Busta in the airport too.
At the time, people laughed it off. They called him unstable. They assumed he was just spiraling again. But now, with all these developments, Diddy's alleged escort testifying, insiders dropping names left and right, suddenly, Orlando doesn't sound so far-fetched anymore. One user summed it up well: I'm believing everything Orlando Brown says from now on, and honestly, same. Because let's be real, Orlando was calling this stuff out before the court cases, before the leaked footage, before the raids. He was the first to speak up, and no one
just didn't want to hear it.
Why would they not have sex when they're gay rappers?
But here's where it gets especially serious. Orlando didn't just say he had relations with Busta, he also suggested that Diddy had violated him. Not just that, but he claimed he was allegedly trafficked to other men in the industry. And yes, Busta Rhymes was mentioned in that context too. So when you start connecting the dots, it starts to look like something deeper might have been going on, and not in any sort of healthy, consensual way.
You know what I'm talking about, Diddy?
Now, on the topic of allegedly offering people to puff for adult encounters, let's shift over to the Coi Leray situation, because this one is uncomfortable. A clip has been making the rounds recently. In the clip, Coi Leray is seen sitting with Diddy. It looks like a casual dinner, possibly at a restaurant, but something about the interaction feels off. Coi appears relaxed, having a friendly conversation with Diddy, and not too far away, Busta Rhymes is seen nearby observing closely. The way he was watching made it seem like he was monitoring the situation, ensuring it played out a certain way. Then, Busta gives Diddy a seemingly light nudge.
Thank you, King. Come on now. Love you very much.
Now, sure, you could say it was just a friendly gesture, but viewers caught onto it quickly. Some suggested it looked like Busta was silently saying, "Go ahead, big bro. She's all yours," as if he was presenting her, so to speak. One user even joked Diddy was about to sprinkle some razzle-dazzle in the drinks until Godfather tapped him. And let's not forget, this was just weeks after Diddy's homes were raided and right before legal trouble really took off. Of all moments to be casually hanging out with Diddy and playing matchmaker, Busta picked a pretty bad one. As for Coi, she's remained completely silent about that evening. And honestly, it's understandable. She likely wants no involvement in this escalating scandal. She's been avoiding the drama, staying quiet, and focusing on her personal life, including expecting a child with Trippie Redd. But her father, Benzino, has been quite vocal. He's been going out of his way to defend Diddy, posting rants online in full support, even with all the allegations. Benzino's frustration seems to be directed at the black community, claiming they've abandoned Diddy during a difficult time.
The same thing with Diddy. Since when have we given the system one of ours? Since when this man ain't been charged nothing criminally, not one fucking thing. They done went in the man's property with tanks and army men and National Guards. He ain't got charged with one criminal situation.
Whether he filmed
that rant before or after the Cassie footage leaked is unclear, but regardless, the internet didn't hold back. He was heavily criticized, with people dragging him online without hesitation. Now let's bring in former bodyguard Big Homie CC. He didn't mince words. He directly claimed that Busta Rhymes used to make unusual requests for his VIP section not for bottles, dancers, or models, but specifically for young men.
Common knowledge though, like all my promoter homies would always say, man, you know, we gotta bring some we gotta bring some, what they call them, I'm not gonna say it over there. They call them fun boys. They'll say we gotta have some fun boys in the section for Busta.
When you line that up with all the other information coming to light, the pieces unfortunately start fitting together. Here's the ironic part: Busta has a history of making loud homophobic remarks. Back in 2006, he reportedly used to slur toward a male fan. Then, in 2007, he famously walked out of an interview the moment homophobia in hip-hop was brought up. His reaction was aggressive and exaggerated. And it's often the case that those who are the most outspoken tend to be hiding the most. Because if someone is truly confident in themselves, why react so strongly?
I think hip-hop's ready for like someone of a different sexual orientation, or are they going to be accepting of it, or what are your opinions on that?
I don't know if it's just about hip-hop being willing to accept it.
And this conversation isn't even new. Remember when Wendy Williams was calling out the music industry before she was essentially pushed off the radio? She had a whole list of rappers rumored to be on the down low. And guess who was reportedly on it? Busta Rhymes. On top of that, there was a caller who claimed Busta assaulted him following a private encounter. Also worth noting, Wendy was allegedly removed from New York radio after speaking out about Diddy's rumored private lifestyle. So now, it's fair to ask, was she telling the truth all along? Because at this point, she's starting to look pretty vindicated.
There was a radio personality once upon a time. Her name was Wendy Williams, and she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such.
Now speaking of Busta, back to Busta and Diddy, multiple reports have claimed they shared similar preferences if you catch the meaning. There are even older photos where Diddy is staring at Busta with what looks like intense admiration. But we should also look at Busta's behavior, not just the speculation. He's been repeatedly accused of aggression towards women. One person shared a memory from a 2005 Busta Rhymes show, saying they were shocked by how he spoke to his female fans, calling them names, making crude remarks. It left a lasting impression. Some even suggest he allegedly resents women, viewing them as competition, especially when they receive attention that shifts focus away from him. Rather than uplift women, it's claimed he lashes out. Then there's the ongoing conversation about his energy, which many have described as zesty. People have been calling it that for a while. And let's not ignore how 50 Cent often pokes fun at Diddy for the same thing. But if we're being honest, this might just be a case of birds of a feather. No disrespect, it's just the pattern people are noticing. One example, backstage, Busta reportedly made Jeremy uncomfortable by commenting on his outfit, then took it a step further by literally sniffing him.
He's spilling a bunch of money.
Where you going?
Watch for the rest of the 50 show.
Okay.
Where the you going?
I'm trying to, you see.
You going to walk.
And then there's this story that really ties things together. One commenter recalled something their barber shared. He used to work in the music business back in the 90s. Apparently, it was common to hang around clubs hoping to pass demos to artists. One night, he spotted Busta outside a venue. Busta had 2 women with him. He sent one inside, then turned to the barber, did something with his tongue, and said, "If you want to do business with me, approach me like a man," followed by a smile. The commenter admitted they used to think it was all made up, but after seeing Busta's behavior in recent videos, they're starting to reconsider. It's becoming hard to dismiss, and just to add more fuel to the conversation, a man named Trip Al recently shared his own experience. According to him, Busta grabbed his hand and led him into a VIP section. At first, Trip assumed it was just typical industry party vibes, but as time passed, he started feeling so uncomfortable that he eventually chose to leave the event altogether.
Busta Rhymes wanted him in his section so bad. Like, what? Pulled him to the section, like through the rope.
Now let's pause for a second and think. Why would a grown man feel uneasy just being in a VIP section with a rapper unless there was more going on beneath the surface? Because let's be honest, most men don't leave a party setting like that unless the atmosphere feels off. And with Diddy's legal situation escalating, things around this whole circle are starting to look even more questionable. T this rate. attention may soon shift directly toward Busta. Let's review the facts. There are images and clips showing him and Diddy looking unusually close. He's continued to publicly back Diddy even after multiple serious accusations have come out. Then you've got all the quiet chatter from insiders and former colleagues that keeps adding to the tension. Meanwhile, Busta has been completely out of sight, totally silent. And when someone known for being outspoken suddenly disappears from the conversation, that's when it's worth paying even closer attention. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Busta is staying quiet because he knows his name might get pulled into the same legal mess as Diddy's? Or could this just be a series of unrelated events? Do you believe the claims about Busta being involved in those so-called freak-off events? Could more people be getting ready to speak out? And what's with Busta suddenly going from loud and visible to totally silent? Drop your opinions in the comments below. We're just scratching the surface here. Also, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.